Hey everybody, Justin here with Eco Diesel again. Being as I do quite a bit of these engine builds and stuff like that, I just wanted to put a kind of a mental note. Taking your crank to machine shop, doing whatever, having it ready to go in the crank or whatever you got to do to balance it, crank grinding or whatever. Most of the time, the crank grinders or the polishers or the balancing guys, it depends on whoever, whatever your machinist. They a lot of times they'll take this dowel out, and if you see this dowel, this is what goes in. Like this is for an automatic. So automatics have got a spacer and a support ring, but this is for an automatic truck. So this spacer goes on the end of the crank, and then your fluid flex plate bolts to it. Where the manuals, I'll show you here in a second, don't have this. It's already part of the or the flywheel. So anyway, what I wanted to try to show you, and it kind of brought a note to me because I was double checking myself before I put this crank in this motor. I was getting finished up to put, I got my bearing clearances and stuff like that. But this dowel is 1 inch, 765 thousandths long, roughly 1 inch, 770 thousandths. Well, this hole in this crank here is about 875 thousandths deep. Actually, 895 thousandths deep. I've been trying to do my math here. So I went and measured another crank, and we need 1 inch, 200 thousandths of the dowel sticking out of the crank. Well, when you do the math and stuff like that, you're basically, the hole is 895 thousandths deep. Well, this thing's 1 inch 765 minus 1 inch 200 leaves us with 565 thousandths. So a little over a half inch of dowel will go in there. Well, that crank hole is roughly 895 thousandths deep where the dowel would go. So if it's, what I'm getting at is if you bury this in there, you tap it all the way in, or it bounces it, or stand it on its, on this end, or just whatever. If you go and reinstall this after it comes back from machine shop, you're actually going to be buried almost. It was roughly, well, from 330 thousandths deeper than it needs to be, or 3.25, 0.325. So then you won't get your engagement that'll come out of this spacer to catch on your flex plate. So roughly you need that much engagement. Well, the engagement that we need, so basically when you go to tap it in, and I'll show a brief tap in here just to get it close to what I'm, just at least get it started. So it rolls up in there. Good gosh, here I am. There it goes. What I'm going to tell y'all is if you're going to check it and do the math, I did all the darn math here, so I'm just trying to make sure I've got it right. So at 1 inch 200 thousandths is what we want to where it sticks out of this spacer on an automatic. A manual is going to be a little bit different. So 1 inch 200 is where I've got the good solid number. So I'll slowly tap this in and just check it. It helps to have dial calipers and some other stuff if you need it. If you get a little bit too far, it's not going to be the end of the world, but it's close. Just this note here, that is roughly right around 1 inch 200 thousandths of engagement or out of that. So that basically puts this in at 500 and, or actually puts it in at 565 thousandths roughly into the crank. Well, there's still 330 thousandths, so if I tapped it all the way in, it would bury it 300 some thousandths deeper. Well, then you don't have any engagement out here to hook your flex plate to, and you would leave you where it don't have support or it catches on it. It might not be a huge deal on all this. It's just my OCD kicking in and seeing how it should be. But I know your flex plate will bolt onto that, and then your ring, like a lot of guys got a ring. Some of the aftermarket flex plates don't have that. But to get your engagement, that's what you would have to have. So hopefully this helps on a little bit, but I'll show you on the manual trans real quick what we've got here. And the manual trans has got a shorter dowel, roughly Give me that dowel calipers, Cooper. The dowel calipers, yes. That right there, yes. So there's that much of a difference. It's 1" 200. This is what's the difference between an automatic. This is a manual crank. And then the automatic is 1" 200 thousandths and ones for that dowel. Well, that dowel, you see the difference there. What I'm trying to basically teach anybody just to look for, just in case, your machine shop or whatever, it looks like that dowel is in there, not quite, about 400 thousandths roughly. So and I don't have the way to measure that dowel and see how long a dowel is, but what I'm saying is that dowel is definitely shorter on a manual, but there's when you bury it, it'll be engaged. There's more than enough sticking out for a manual flex or manual transmission, clutch type setup. So what I'm trying to say is basically this is engagement on an automatic. So we'll bring it out to 1" 200, roughly right about there. And I'm pretty darn close. Pretty darn close there. It's just a little notes as I've learned to build these and keep an eye on it. It might not be a huge deal. Of course, you see all my darn math I was trying to. But what I'm getting at is the engagement. You've got 565 thousandths of that dowel engaged into this crank. It can go as far as 330 thousandths more. So it can go up to 895, almost 900 thousandths. So it's a mental note. You guys might not even have to worry about it or what I'm talking about, but it's something that I want you to just be aware of. And give it back to Cooper here. So just wanted y'all to be aware of, just because if your machine shop guy moves this or bends it in or whatever. But these are 1" 765 or 1" almost 3/4. 750. Well, it's probably 1" 765. So it's a little over 3/4 of an inch. Yeah, 1 3/4 roughly. So I'm just thinking way too much here. But I just wanted to show you that. So the engagement is fine. You got 565 thousandths of engagement here into the crank, but you have enough room. If you tap that all the way in, it would bury it up to another 330 thousandths deep. Then you got a problem because then you don't get enough engagement on your spacer for your flex plate. This is automatic. This is an automatic crankshaft, so it's not a manual like I showed y'all before. Anyway, check it out. Like, subscribe, share. I'm going to share this on YouTube and TikTok and Instagram. So it's just a little bit of thing I've been messing with, putting a motor together today. Obviously, it's Easter, and I hope everybody has a happy Easter. So, and a beautiful Sunday. It's just I'm not far behind. So I'm trying to get caught up here, and this is one thing that I just took a mental note on. I had to go over to another motor and actually pull. I got a dowel removal tool, which is here, and I had to go and get over there, and I was able to remove it. But the dowel removal tool is a master dowel pin. I've got it off of, I think, of Amazon, or I bought it, but that's the part number to kind of help you. 95 400, but it's Cal Van Tools. Anyway, I'll make this video too much longer. Anyway, I hope everybody's been doing well. Have a happy Easter, and just a little mental note on some engine build stuff. If you're doing this yourself, man, DIY guys, ain't nothing wrong with this. But I just, if that comes back from the machine shop with no dowel in it, you need to look at it and make sure. The longer dowel is for the automatics, for the flex plate. Manual's got a shorter one. Anyway, everybody have a good day. Thank you.